1 week ago, we saw Orca literally 5 minutes from our front door, and we're still in disbelief, and we need to share this story with you. Like so many other people, orca are one of our top 5 animals to spot in the wild.
For me, it's number 1.
Yeah, it's one of my top 5.
Yeah. And we were so lucky to see them recently, and still honestly can't understand what the hell just happened.
No.
And so we wanted to talk through basically our story behind seeing these amazing animals in the wild. Right now, we should be heading to Scotland. But obviously, due to the current circumstances, we can't get the ferry over to Scotland, and we were going to be going to Orca Watch.
We were planning on spending 10 days on the north coast of Scotland to participate in Orca Watch and try and observe the orca as they migrate through. COVID obviously had other plans, and so we were ready to part with our dreams of seeing orca this year, which is a real shame. We'd even bought a new camera lens specifically for that event, and I was starting to feel high levels of resentment for spending that kind of money on something that we couldn't use.
It's a small thing, but to us we had built up a lot of anticipation for that trip away, and well, after all that planning to go see orca and go track them down, somehow they decided to come to us. Literally
like 2 minutes away.
Yeah. And so, last Friday, we got a phone call from our friend Fergal, and we couldn't even believe the words he was saying. He told us there were killer whales in Strangford Lough.
It was the craziest 5 minutes, and the poor dog was just so confused. We were running around the house. We were grabbing all of our camera gear.
Yeah.
And we didn't even ask where they were, really. We just left the house.
Yeah.
We didn't know what end of the loch they were in. We didn't know if it was going to be an hour's walk, if we needed to drive. We just went.
Yeah. So by the time we got down to the shore and socially distant from Fergal, we found out that they were actually a bit further in the loch, and Fergal was getting his boat ready to go out and track them down. So we then made a plan to split up. Connie carried on walking along the shore, trying to make sure that just in case the orca had turned around quickly and started to leave.
Yeah.
And I went off to go get the van.
The beauty of that moment as well is that we knew which way the orca were headed, and they had to turn around to come out of the loch.
Yeah.
So we knew no matter where we stood along that loch, we stood a very high chance of being able to spot them.
Yeah. The only thing that could have stopped us from seeing the orca leaving was darkness. So as long as the orca left the loch before it got dark, we were in for the best opportunity to see orca. So I went and grabbed the van as fast as I could. I took Indy with me so we could grab some supplies.
And it was the first time we turned the van on in about 9, maybe 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was mildly tense waiting at the shore thinking, is it going to start?
Yeah. And I was even more tense when I started the van, tried to pull it away, and it wouldn't budge because the brakes had seized. Yeah. I'd forgotten to leave the handbrake off. But luckily I managed to put a bit of gas on and make the brakes unseize with a bit of force.
Yeah.
And I was back on my way, heading down to the shore to pick up Connie, and so we could head to our vantage point.
Yeah.
Which was basically, but it was where the road closed on the shore road because some of the road had fallen into the loch.
Yeah. We could have walked there, but it probably would have taken us about an hour or so, and it was a bit grey out. We didn't know if it was going to rain.
Yeah.
But there was plenty of places to pull up, and we were by ourselves for quite some time before other people started to kind of pick up on the buzz. And weirdly, one of the only times I'm ever going to say COVID-19 did anything positive was that it couldn't bring in masses of people from everywhere else. It all had to be local people that came to see the orca, which meant that it was much quieter and the experience was very different to what you probably expect it to be.
Yeah, no pushing, no shoving for people trying to get the best views of these animals. It was just everyone being polite and distant to each other, and it was just so nice to see. So the spot we chose to hang out was along the shore from Portferry, about 5 minutes drive out from the town where we live. And what basically Strangford Lough is a big sea loch, but the entrance to it is really narrow, and then the largest part of it is a really wide loch. And so the orca were just through the narrows, and we knew the last sightings of them were there. So we posted up just at the edge of the narrows, where we knew that we'd have a good view, being able to try and spot basically Fergal's boat, because it's a lot easier to spot a boat than it is to spot a killer whale. Well, unless they're right in front of you.
Yeah.
And well, we waited there until we saw the boat, and well, once we saw the boat, we knew we were in for an absolute treat.
Yeah, it was very much a pinprick in the distance for quite some time. So we were looking at it through the binos and really just waiting and looking everywhere that we could. The boat was such a safe distance away from the killer whales, it actually made it really hard for us to be able to spot where they were. You were having to really scan the horizon to see where they were placed. And then we could see that the boat was moving towards our direction, and that's when the excitement really started to build up, because we knew that the killer whales must have been moving towards us.
Yeah. And after a couple of sightings through binos, we managed to see 2 massive fins.
Yeah.
And wow, it was just started becoming... Each time we looked at them, they'd got that little bit closer, and until finally that first time we could properly see them without binos. It was just...
It's a really emotional and emotive experience to see an animal like that for the first time, and especially in those circumstances. And you sit there in almost disbelief, and you... like the size of them and the noises that they make and the way that they move, you're just in complete awe that you are able to share this experience. And watching from the shore was so nice, because we could just watch them do their thing in peace and quiet, and we just watched them do what they wanted to do.
It was just incredible. As they got closer, you got to see the size of them, and you got to see how much power they had, the way that they surfaced, and when they went below the surface again, that the wake behind them, it wasn't like watching a bottlenose dolphin or anything like that just cuts through the water. These animals shift water when they move around, because they're so big and so bulky. It was just incredible. And these 2 animals were well-known killer whales to the UK. They're Coe and Aquarius, which are 2 of the West Coast community from Scotland that spend most of their time in the Hebrides, and the size of their dorsal fins are just enormous. They're like the size of a person. It's just insane. They're so big, and it's just incredible seeing those fins. And I've seen countless photos of Coe online from people in the Hebrides seeing him, and it's very
distinctive, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can tell that is...
Yeah, it's an obvious fin, and
yeah.
if you spend a lot of time looking at whales and dolphin based stuff online, super likely to recognise that fin. It's just a beast, and it was just incredible. Yeah,
there's something quite funny and amazing about the fact that these two males just decided to come and visit Strangford Lough. They came in, they pootled around, and then they left again.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to think of animals as being that inquisitive, that they can just go and explore in that way. And so as they came towards us, that's when things started to really pick up, and it kind of went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, it was the blurriest 30 minutes ever.
Yeah, they started to move quite quickly, and we knew that they would be heading towards the Narrows, and so we drove back down the shore road and parked up outside the marine lab where we work, and we just waited for them to come in, because we knew that we'd be seeing them quite close in. I think Strangford, which is the other side to us, I think they got a much better view. They seemed to lean over towards them, but still there is very little that compares to a moment like that when they're that close to you when you're standing on the shore. Yeah,
and the weather-wise, we were just so lucky. There was no wind, basically, so you could hear them breathing, you could hear them surfacing, and well, it was just insane. Like, just getting to hear that and knowing that you're that close to an animal that means so much to you, it was just insane. I can't describe it any other way, really.
And so we have a few clips to share with you, some of our own, and we've also got some of Fergal's clips as well. Thank you so much, Fergal.
Yeah.
And those were taken from the boat from an appropriate and safe distance from the Orca at all times.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and if you want to share any of your magic animal moments with us, please leave a comment below, or you can head on over to We Are Animals on Instagram and comment or message us on there.